everyone, welcome back to the Pottery Corner, my studio down on the south coast of England near Chichester. Welcome back. This is part 3 of the monoprinting series. So we've done preparation for monoprinting, where I go through the materials and slips and bits and pieces that you're going to need to actually do the technique. And then a week or so ago, the monoprinting demonstration, the full tutorial was published, and I know a lot of you have been watching it. And then this is part 3, and I just thought that I would run through what I made from the slabs. So the 2 slabs that we made in the monoprinting full tutorial, I just thought that I would run through what I actually made out of those slabs. But before I do, I wanted to show you this piece of art that I have in my studio, which I purchased recently from Meredith Wakefield, who is the partner of Mitch Lyons. So those YouTubers who've been looking up monoprinting will, I'm sure, have seen Mitch Lyons' work, and this is one of his monoprints. And it's called 3 Birds for obvious reasons. And I just love it. I just could not resist buying it for the studio. It is absolutely inspirational. I'm going to hold it right up to the camera, and hopefully you'll be able to see some of the detail that Mitch has put on this piece, with all the different techniques that we were talking about in the monoprinting tutorial. I mean, what a marvellous piece that is. And as I say, once I started getting into monoprinting and had watched Mitch's videos on YouTube, I got in touch with his studio. You can actually get through to the Mitch Lyons website just by using his name. And unfortunately found out from Meredith that he has passed away. So that's very sad. But for me and for my studio and for my students, I just think it's absolutely inspirational. So when Mitch was doing his monoprinting on clay, he would use acrylic paints rather than what we've been using, which is slips and underglazes, to make pottery pieces, although he did do that as well. But he used acrylic paints to actually monoprint onto a canvas surface to make a picture, you know, 2-dimensional rather than 3-dimensional. So I just wanted to show you that because, as I say, it hangs on the wall, pride of place in my studio. And I just think it's terrific that, you know, you can see all the detail of all the pieces that he's put onto that slab. So do check him out. I'm sure Meredith would be very pleased to hear from you. And as I say, what a talent, amazing man. Anyway, from my slabs, so the 2 slabs that we had on the last video, you'll remember, I have made 6 pieces. So I'm just going to quickly show them to you, just so that you get some idea of what you can achieve from a single slab. So this was the actual slab that we did with the demonstrating. As you can see, it's still greenware, so it's not been fired at all yet, so it needs to get bisque fired before I add the transparent glaze. And actually on the end of this video I am going to have got to that stage, so bear with me if you want to see what it actually comes out like. And it's interesting to see the colours of the slip and the underglazes at the greenware stage, and then to see it in its finished form, because the colours are completely different. So I've made 2 what I call waney edged plates, and I have burnished the edges on these plates. I quite like these wavy edged plates. It gives them something a little bit different. And you can see that square texture where we put the squares on the stencil. So, and I have just embellished this very slightly with some dots of yellow underglaze, just because there happened to be a patch and I didn't like it, so I did put a little bit of yellow underglaze. And again, this is the second piece from that slab, a slightly smaller waney edged dish, again burnished on the edges, and again I have put some yellow underglaze dots on there just to fill up what, you know, put a pattern on and make it match the other piece. The third thing that I made from that particular slab was a wonky pot, and I know you've all seen my wonky pots before. I love wonky pots. They're little characters, aren't they? So this one, as you can see, has used the monoprinting slab. I've also pieced together some of the little bits of monoprinting that were left around the outside just to make the base. And then I've just put some little fun feet on it. And again, I've used this yellow slip afterwards just to give it a little bit of geometric lift. But again, you can see on this one quite clearly that beautiful square texture. And when it's glazed and you're left with like a white clay body colour background, it looks really great. And again, I've just burnished the top, and on the join I just put these sort of industrial clips, if you like, if that's what you want to call it. I quite like those, they're quite nice. Give it some, almost like a face on the front. As you can see, I am putting this back upside down because obviously it can't support itself on those legs until it's been fired. So that was the first of the slabs that we did. And this one is the second one. And this platter has been made by draping over, I have some bisque drape moulds that I've made, she says. So this is, again, it's just clay. I've just made this and we use it as a mould. And then we have templates, different shapes and things that we use on the back of this mould. So that's how that has been made. So simply cut out, draped over the drape mould, left overnight. And then again, I've burnished, shore formed and burnished the edge on this one. And again, I've picked up that same yellow slip design just because I quite like it. It gives it something. I don't know what, but it gives it something. So that's the first piece. And then I've made two oval platters. Again, the edges are burnished. These ones I've done straight sided. But this has got this lovely yellow bit from the underglaze bits that went on last. And I really like that particular section there. And again, I have added some yellow slip dots on that one. And then the last piece is a slightly smaller, but same sized, same shaped platter. They go together. And again, I've just popped some yellow slip dots. Quite like that finish. Later on in the video, we'll see how those come out. So stay tuned. In the meantime, I thought that I would just run through a few comments that I've had from all you lovely people. I love it. I don't know your name, but it's T&K Smith. I loved this. This was my favourite comment. It says, mason stains ordered, kids' old stencils dragged out of office message on the email, weekend of monoprinting. Now, you're my kind of person, whoever you are, T&K Smith, you're my kind of person. That's exactly... That would just be my idea of heaven, to spend a whole weekend monoprinting. So I really thought that was funny that they'd actually said, you know, out of office on. Yeah, I'm not to be disturbed. Marcia, you said you were ready to try it and you could see yourself getting lost in print. Well, I absolutely agree. Monique in Bonaire, my lovely Monique in the sunshine. She said, I love, love, love. And also, Monique gave me a tip, which I thought was excellent if you read it in the comments below. The comments on the monoprinting tutorial video, that she said that she does her paper transfers and then she lets them dry and then she puts them in a folder. What a brilliant idea that is. I wouldn't have thought of doing that. So thank you, Monique. I shall be doing that because I think it's a really good idea if you happen to have, you know, stages when you do things, you know, when you've got a bottle of underglaze out, you could just, you know, do a few little designs, let them dry out and put them in the folder. Brilliant idea. Thought that was great. Fern said she can't wait to get stuck in with this technique. So well done, Fern. Have a good go. Kathleen said, speaking of patterns, she liked my shirt on the last video. Do you know what? I hadn't noticed, but on the tutorial video, I was wearing a shirt with a sort of a geometric design on it. And it's funny, I'd never noticed it before, but now she's mentioned it, actually it is a good design, so I might well use that. I might trace it out and use that. Katie Walters, as ever, always commenting on my videos. Thank you, Katie. And it says, all over the globe, I feel the addicts are born. Oh, I hope so. This is just such a fantastic way of chilling out with clay, having a really nice time and just losing yourself in creativity. It's a great thing to do. Cher, she says, holy moly, a cajillion great tips. So Cher, well done. Do have a go. Please post me a picture. Lisa said the possibilities were endless. And again, she's another one who wants to come to a workshop. So good news for you, Lisa. The studio, it will be reopening in April in line with the government easing of restrictions. So thankfully we now have a time when the students can come back. Jeff, Jeff made me laugh. He put a thing on the, a comment on the silicone mould Top Tip Tuesday video saying that I'd saved his life. I thought that was really funny. But anyway, he said that he was inspired to give the technique a try. So Jeff, do give it a try. Email me, tell me how you get on, send me a picture of what you're doing. And Freddie Moretti, Freddie's my favourite, I should say, after saying this comment before. Freddie is my favourite because I think he was the very first person to comment on my very first YouTube video. So, you know, Freddie Moretti, you have a place in my heart. And I think of you lying on a beach in Florida with a very large cocktail with something exotic hanging out of the top of it. So anyway, thank you everybody for your comments. I really appreciate them. It keeps me going. And then in a minute, so when these pieces are bisque fired and I've glazed them in a transparent glaze, I'll pop onto the end of the video the results so that you can see the actual pieces in their finished form. In the meantime, thank you for watching once again. Check out the website www.thepotterycorner.co.uk, and the Etsy shop is open, and there's a link in the description to go to the Etsy shop. So again, thank you for watching. I much appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed as yet to my channel, please do. There's new content every week, and I'm always up for any ideas that you have of what you'd like me to cover. If there's something that I can show you or something that I can explain, please let me know. I'll have a go. You know, I'm always very happy to share what clay knowledge I have. So these pieces have now been through the glazed firing and have had just a coat of transparent, Mako transparent dipping glaze. And as you can see, the colours are completely different to how they were when they were on the slab. And it's really interesting to see the detail and the colour that they actually come out in their finished fired form. So I'm coming in quite close on these plates so that you can see the stencil detail and indeed the square texture from the pieces put on at the beginning and then peeled back. And also you can see on there the yellow slip dots that I added because there was a little bit of space. So I wanted to make sure that there wasn't a space on the background. But my clay body colour is this lovely white, or just off-white. So that's the smaller of the two waney-edged plates. This one is the larger of the two. And the eagle-eyed of you will see that there is a crack across the centre of that dish, which is a real shame because the actual monoprint section with the targets and where the tangerine net was is lovely, and it's really, really pretty. A lovely colour palette, not too many colours sort of vying for attention on there. And again, the square grid matting that we took off has come out really well on there. But I'm sure you'll be able to see that very nasty crack right across the centre, and indeed it has gone through onto the back. So unfortunately with plates that happens quite a bit. So unfortunately for me, I've lost that one, but you know, when you're demonstrating, then these things happen. And then this is the little wonky pot that we made with the rest of that slab. So I've just popped a plant in him so that you can actually see him being used for his function. as a succulent pot. So he just has a little pot of a pot plant in the top of him. And he's come out again really well. Lovely colour palette with the yellow and the blue. And you can see on this section here the netting. So that's how the netting comes out. When you peel it back, you get this lovely sort of, it's almost like a snake skin texture, which is lovely. I'm really pleased with this. And these are the darker underglaze pieces that are put on last, that we put on top of everything else, and that's why I use them as sort of highlighters. So really lovely, and he's got lovely little feet, and the base has got the monoprint on as well, because I've just used some pieces of monoprint joined together to use up the monoprint, and his little legs are really very sweet. So he's a lovely little character, and as I say, once you've actually got a plant in the top of these wonky pots, they make a nice gift. So that's the results of the first slab. And this is the second slab. As you can see, it's a different colourway, just from the choice of the slips and things that I used when we were making it. So you can see clearly the round sections of slip on there, where I've chosen those motifs. So I quite like that it has the round motif carried on through the plate. The yellow slip dots were very well, they're nice because they leave a raised texture, which gives you something else. And you can see across this piece the comb, so the afro comb that we used to put the slip on, you can actually see that right across this dish. And again, you can see the texture of the snake skin like bit from the netting, and also the square texture from the matting that we lifted after everything was on. So I really like that. That's lovely. And then these are the two platters. This is the smaller of the two. This one's got quite a big bit of stencil in the middle of the piece, so that gives it sort of a trigger in the middle there. But the colours are very good on this, the green and the yellow and the blue. It's not jarring, it's a nice colour palette. And again, the yellow slip dots, I think they really add something. So that one's really good. And this one is my favourite. We were talking about the yellow motif on the corner here. I mean, look how lovely that is. Really interesting, a really interesting pattern. And the targets on this one are more subtle. So there's a yellow target on here, and again you've got that yellow motif that comes up the top of the plate, so you can see where all the stencils and bits and pieces have been put onto this particular dish. So that's a lovely platter. I mean, it looked lovely with fruit on it, or with anything that you were serving at the table. So, and it's a little piece of art all on its own. That's what I think. Nobody's ever going to be able to recreate that exact piece. It's something that actually comes from you, and everybody's monoprinting designs will always be different. So you feel like you're creating your own unique pieces. And again, that matting in the centre of this one's come out really well with this, with the green section in the middle. You can see where when you pull that up, it leaves the white grid work. And I really like that. I like that, the way that it leaves the squares. It looks really good. So that's that, and I hope you found it interesting. Do join me again on the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.